Hello and welcome to NCompass. Today we're going to start Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And we're going to cover the summary, explanation, that is paraphrasing almost with the explanation theme, and the imagery or the symbols used. We had already covered one of the poems of Alfred Tennyson, which was The Eagle. So it's good to compare both the poems. And first of all, we'll also cover the theme, the main idea, which is death and its acceptance, eternity and time. So these will be the themes that will run throughout the poem. Imagery, a lot of symbols, as we had seen in Eagle. There are a lot of symbols, the sandbar, the sea, sunset and evening star, twilight, evening bells. So such kind of imagery pointing towards the theme or bringing out the theme of death, eternity and time. And one clear for me, and may there be no mourning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out are born of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. 4 stanzas, and let's see the rhyming scheme. Star, A, me, B. So if the sound is different, we will assign another letter to it. Let's take the letter A because the sound is starting from here, and me, now this is different from star, so let's give it the letter B. Bar. Now we had a similar sound, star, so let's give it again A because it's rhyming here. C is rhyming with me, so let's give it the letter B. So this is how we look for the rhyming scheme, A, B, A, B. Now if in the paper you get the different stanza, asleep. This is not rhyming with any of these sounds, so we will assign another letter, that is C. Foam, again different sound, that would be D. Deep, rhyming with sleep, so similar sound, and home, D. Foam, home. So in this way, we'll move on. Bell, farewell, that would be E, E, F, F, dark, embark, place, face, G, G, and then H, H for far and bar. So this is how we decide the rhyming scheme. Now after that we have read the poem, let's come to the explanation of the first stanza. It starts with the sunset and the evening star. Sunset and the evening star. This must be my alarm. Okay. Sunset and the evening star, and one clear call for me. You see, the starting of the poem is with a time of evening. We have the sun setting and the evening star is almost out, and one clear call for me. And there's an announcement or a message or a call for me, and may there be no mourning of the bar. Mourning is crying or wailing or weeping for something. Of the bar, we'll discuss this word, when I put out to sea. Now you see the setting is that of the evening time, and there is the sea, the image of the sea and the bar. What is the bar? I'll just show you in a minute. Now here we have the evening star. You see as night falls and you can see, if the sky is cloudless, you can see the stars. So this evening star is appearing as night is approaching. So it's evening time and there is the sunset. And the other word in the same stanza was the sandbar. Now, sandbar, what is it? It's a ridge or some accumulation of sand formed in water by tides or currents or waves. You know, the sand is just pushed towards uh, one side and forming just like a border. So, sandbar is submerged or partially exposed ridge of sand or coarse sediment that is built by waves offshore from a beach. The swirling turbulences or the disturbance of the waves breaks off a beach, and then this sandy bottom is formed. You see, this is the picture. Some sand is accumulated, and this is how the sandbar looks. Now you might notice that there is this border. The poet will be using this border as I'm moving from the land to the sea and crossing this border of the bar. So he talks about how there will be a transition from life to death. So let's have a look at our stanza. So as the time of the ending of his life. Now, Alfred Tennyson, it's believed that he has written this poem at the, end of his life, almost while he was not feeling well and he was just waiting for his death. So at that moment, he is writing this poem as if he is waiting for the ending of his life. So the time or the setting behind him is the evening of his life, that is setting, sun setting, and the evening star is there. And one clear call for me. Announcement. So I notice the sunset and evening star in the sky, and there's a call, and I hear a sound calling for me loud. I hope, and may there be. Now, may is, this is a modal verb for might. There may be, or there might be. So it's almost like a hope. I hope that there will be no mourning of the bar. The bar that I showed you. There will be no weeping of the bar when I put out to sea. So there would be no disturbance he wants. He doesn't want any kind of disturbance while he is transiting from one life to the other. When I put out to sea is indicating when he's moving towards death. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out of the boundless deep turns again home. But such a tide, the tide or the wave, as moving, seems asleep. So the tide or the wave, that comes from the water, you know, um, tide is that rush or the gush of water that is very high, indicating life. That tide is now almost like asleep, too full for sound and foam. It's almost like in a state of sleep, that it doesn't produce the sound or the foam, the activity or the sound, which is again an indication of life. So that life is, there is no vigor or vitality in that life anymore. It seems almost like it's sleeping. And that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. This thing Where did this life appear from? From the boundless deep, from within the deep sea. Boundless, limitless, something limitless and something very deep and mysterious. Where it came from, now it's returning back home. So instead, I want to be carried out on a tide moving so slowly it seems almost asleep, and which is too solemn to make sound or create a wash. That's what I want when I return home to the depths of the great unknown. I embark. The twilight is the period or the time from the sky between full night and sunrise, or between sunset and full night. So it might be, or it can be, the light, the period of light when there is just little light coming from the sky. It's a period of the light from the sky between full night and sunrise. So it's morning time. Before the sunrise, there is a twilight, a kind of just a ray of a very, very dim light. That's the time of the twilight. Or it can be the time when the sun is setting and the night is appearing. So the time between the sunset and the full night, where there is again just a little light left. So both these time would be the twilight. Let me show you for the. So it's almost the sun setting and night appearing. Or it can be this time when it's the morning is appearing and the darkness is fading away. So the poet here says, this is the third stanza now. The twilight comes with the evening bell. Again, the bell is just indicating, the call. Call was an auditory image, and again we have the image of bell, an auditory image. As there's the twilight, now this twilight is indicating the time of evening because it's evening time. Twilight and evening bell, again a call of death. And after that call would be darkness. That is its death time. Now, till here, what is the emotion that the poet is trying to evoke in us? We feel that now there is darkness, that's the end. But what is he expecting? He says, and may there be no sadness or farewell when I embark, when I leave. There should be no sadness in bidding me farewell. So we do not find the tone the tone of sadness here. Twilight comes with the evening bell, which will be followed by darkness. Now, this is paraphrasing. There do not need to be any sad goodbyes when I go, when I leave. Coming to the fourth stanza. For though from out are born of time and place, the flood may bear me far. I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Even though I'll be going far from the time and place, floating on the tide of death, the flood may bear me far. So I'll be far, floating on the tide, far from the time and place. Born is also does also indicates remote, out of boundaries of time and place. I am the flood that may bear me far, the flood or the thing that is pushing him towards, at the time of death, a person is not in his control. He has submitted to a larger phenomena, a larger reality of life that will move that person from this life to the other. He will just cross the boundaries of time and cross the boundary of space, and he will then move towards time and place. This is a strange and mysterious phenomena if one just reflects on it. What is it that pushes him towards the other life, and he moves towards that bar, the physical part of the three of the dimension, and he now moves towards the other side? There is some kind of a push, just like the flood. I hope to see my pilot face to face. Now, as you sit in the plane and there is a pilot who is in charge of the flight, who is flying the plane, there is someone who is forcing or pushing or flying away my ship or my plane or my whatever I'm sitting on that is life. Someone is guarding me through. That pilot, I wish to see him face to face when I have crossed the bar. I need to see him who was in charge of me, of my life, who had guarded me from in this transition. And this pilot is God. And you see the capital P. So again, even though I'll be going from this time and place, floating on the tide of death, I hope to meet God, who has been like my pilot in this journey. Now you see, again, there is a flicker of hope. When he has crossed the bar, he wants to see the pilot. There is hope, there is happiness, there is reunion of the being. So from where we come, we return. So there is this a very positive note of hope. Now, death is a fact of life, it's a reality of life. And here in the poem, the speaker is confronting that reality, that death is imminent, it's unavoidable, it's inevitable, but still, it's something that is not haunting him, and he finds a kind of peace in the thought of dying. Rather than being scared of death, the speaker presents is as a transition into another kind of life, which is advocated in all the heavenly religions. Believe that there is a life after death, and you see, this gives us hope. Death, which might seem as the most haunting thing, but those who believe in the life hereafter, death is just a reunion with the one they have come from. So it's nothing to be scared of, as the poet believes. He compares this to the crossing of the sandbar. There's a shift from the coastal area to a sea or ocean. And then he asks that there should be no sadness. So it's the poem is almost like, there's an argument in favor of accepting death and finding comfort in God. The evening star, the sunset, all of them indicating toward that. And eternity, again, the concept of eternity, the theme of eternity is there, that there is life after death. That will be the continuity. Eternity means the life hereafter, which is eternal, permanence. So there is an eternal life. There is a continuity of the life. The body, according to the all the religions, the heavenly religions, there's a belief that the body decays, But the soul, there is no death to the soul. It remains, and there is the continuation of the life of the soul. So there is the concept of eternity we find here. Then he discusses time. The sunset, the evening star, there is constant signaling towards time. And that the time comes and the time ends. Then there's a call to him at the ending. So after the theme, let's discuss the symbols. We had already discussed some. The symbols, the sandbar signifying the transition, the time, the death, the time or the movement from that border or the boundary of life to another life. The sea indicating the immense, the vast, the permanent or the eternal life is much, much bigger than the life of this earth. So, of this world. So the sea becomes a metaphor for the eternal life. The sunset and evening star, again signifying or standing for symbols of the approaching death, time, twilight, and evening bell. Evening bell is indicating the call, and twilight again the same time. The metaphor, the poetic devices. We find the metaphor, the bar, the sandbar, the figurative representation of the barrier between life and death, and we find the boundless deep, which is standing for the deep sleep connected to death. Then we have the evening bell, which stands for the arrival of death. There be no mourning of the bar. There is this intensifying tone of the poem. There should be no mourning of the bar, as if the bar is given the human emotion of mourning. Such a tide as moving seems asleep. The tide as if asleep personification, giving human characteristic. The act of sleeping as if used liberally to leave an impression of stillness during the arrival of death. I hope to see my pilot along a not. Again, you see, where's the pilot here? You see the pilot. We find multiple indications towards the sea. And here we have this nautical reference from, a pilot, from the airplane, the navy. So we have this nautical reference. The poet calls death as pilot, or we can interpret it as God who is leading him from this life to the other. So we have this metaphor. The poem uses the metaphor of the voyage at the sea to describe the journey from life to death. And clear call. See the consonant letter that is repeated consecutively, and then in the second line, full for alliteration here. And we also have the poetic device of the use of repetition. You see, when, when. So there is this use of repetition here, and metaphor we have already discussed. And also the personification, the moaning of the bar. And the bar already is used as a metaphor for the boundary between life and death, the barrier between life and death. And then we have the personification we had discussed before. When and one more word was repeated, which was may. May, and we find may here. So there is the repetition of this word. We have discussed the personification, the rhyme scheme, alliteration, imagery, and metaphor. So the metaphor, the entire poem has this extended metaphor comparing life and death to a sea voyage, this journey on the sea, movement from moving from this life to the other is just like moving towards the sea. So this voyage of the sea is an extended metaphor. I'd like you to comment below. If you need notes for it, please comment and tell me whether you have benefited from the videos and there is anything that was of value to you. Please comment and let me know. And if you liked it, if you found any kind of value, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the comments. Thank you.